how I got into the game industry is probably not how anybody would get into it today. I mean, we literally, a friend of mine and I looked up, we were starting a music jingle company or whatever, and we looked in the phone book, which, nobody looks in the phone book anymore. And we found Broderbund software under B because we were thinking CD-ROMs need music. Let's do that. And we called them up and we called them and talked to somebody on the phone, and ended up getting an interview and getting hired there. Both of us did. And that's what started our career. It was really kind of a fluke. And so that type of personal connection, I mean, or just doesn't happen that much anymore. I mean, the way, and it's a flooded industry now where it wasn't when I started. I mean, when I started, it was just opening up and it was much easier for me. I mean, we were very lucky to get the position we did at the time that we did. However, that being said, I still get resumes all the time through Valve. And then I also used to get them when I was working at Cyan or whatever. I get resumes and CDs and whatever. And people saying, yeah, I want to, when I was working on, the Myst series of games at Cyan, I would get CDs from people and their music was Myst type music. And they'd say, hey, I want to write, can you give me a job writing Myst music? It's like, well, that's what I'm doing. That's my job. And it's like they want to take your job. That's not the best way to approach someone. So I know a lot of composers and will approach other composers and say, I'd like to write for you or with you or whatever. And that's great, but it's not the best way to approach. And as you know, one thing that is timeless or whatever is making those personal connections. I mean, it's how you get it. I mean, for kids that are in school right now, if you're studying composing or whatever it might be, there's also going to be people studying video game programming or whatever, or an artist or a producer or a director. And those are the people you want to know. And those are the people that you're going to grow through the industry with. You look at, all the early film producers like Spielberg or whatever, and Lucas, they knew each other, right? And they knew people that did sound or that did music or whatever. And they kind of brought them in and involved them. And they became, the icons of that era of filmmaking. Well, it's the same with video games. I mean, I brought people into the industry early on that I knew, and I was lucky enough to have had people that recognized me or knew me and brought me along. So it happens through personal connections. I mean, you can be the greatest composer in the world or sound designer, and if you don't have that personal connection, if you don't have the personality and that type of thing, if you're just trying to show off your sizzle reel, well, there's 10,000 other people out there that have that exact same quality and exact same skill. So you've got to, standing out it's hard to, everybody says, well, you have to somehow stand out. Well, that's true, but standing out in a personal way, I think, is way more important. And I mean, some of the guys that I started working for early on, even in the jingle industry, became good friends. I mean, whether or not I was working for them or not, I'm still their friends, and we still talk, and we're still connected. And I think that's really the secret to making it in any industry. I think it's kind of a common thread. I don't think we're that much different because it's video games or because it's music. I mean, that just is a skill and something that you have to do and have to have.
Of all those resumes and CDs that you got, what was something that somebody did that made you select them?
Oh man, I can tell you a dozen things that made me not select them. I mean, occasionally you'll come across something that's like, it's not about what they did. It's not about how good their music is or how good their sound design is, but it's how they did it. They'll come across with their thought process, and that's what's important. It's like, well, how did you come to that conclusion, or why did you do this? In video games, it's important as a sound designer, especially, to be able to communicate to the audience, to the user. Sound gives clues. It gives you, it communicates all kinds of different things if it's done right. It's not a matter of just putting a sound to something that happens. I mean, in some cases it is, but in many cases it's also communicating what's happening somewhere else, or what's happening to you, or what level you are in the game, or what you need to do, or where you need to go. So it's more about the thought process, and that the people can explain that behind their work and say, this is why I did it. That's what's interesting. So yeah, I would say it's not just about showing off your, I made this really cool sound, or I have this piece of music that's just awesome, and that's great, and that's a good start. But tell me why.
Mm.
A lot of people can't do that. I mean, we've had interviews where I've, it's very common for sound people and music people to say, "Well, I want to tell a story." And so it's like, okay, well, tell me how you're going to tell that story, and how you're going to be a part of that.
Yeah, I think that'll go a long way for a lot of people.
I hope so.
Uh,
Yeah.